Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with a weekly news and review for March 21st, 2021. 2021, we got a lot of great news this week. Big news in the form of a Hasbro Galvatron. We're going to talk about all these great things coming up. First up, I want to talk about a few things I'm seeing at Show Z that's really cool. This is the 52 Toys Beast Box, the B2228 Reaper, and it turns into it's kind of a bug here, kind of a cool bug. It's a $30 bug, and then it transforms into a cube. This is kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. I'm sure there's some sort of lore behind it that I'm not seeing. There's also this 52 Toys Beast Box BB21 Pantera. Looks a lot like a Ravage, and of course, it's going to transform into a cube. The dimensions say it's 7.5 by 2.8 by 5.9 inches. So it's a decent size for what it is. And this one's 30 also. And there's also this Good Smile Company 6 God Combination God Mars model kit. Kind of a cool looking thing here for $95. And this is going to be made of ABS plastic, POM plastic, and its combined mode is going to be 7.5 inches tall, and it also shows a multitude of different characters. So I'm guessing these characters are going to combine and make the big one. So that's pretty interesting there. That's pretty cool in itself. So it's kind of a light week for Masterpiece news this week, but there's some stuff going on. The Fans Toys FD45 Spindrift Sea Spray version 2.0 is going to be shipping soon. Now, the word on the street is everybody's concerned. Is Fans Toys done for and over? I was never concerned, but this thing's shipping soon, and I expect them to get back on a normal, usual release schedule. So we see something almost every month, whether it's a new figure or it's a reissue figure. We should see something almost every month from Fans Toys, because that's how they do business. So as for this Spindrift, I've got it on the way. If you have yours pre-ordered, you should start looking for your pre-order notifications coming up. I'm looking for my pre-order notification coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how this stacks up to the X-Transbots Neptune. X-Transbots Neptune is one of X-Transbots' best figures, so it'd be interesting to see if Fans Toys wins this battle. And speaking of X-Transbots, their Virtus should be next on their release list. We should be seeing it relatively soon, but I don't want them to rush it out. We've waited this long for it. I want it to be a good release. We don't want the same issues that we had with Cup or Lock. We want this to be a good, solid release. We want it to be the best of the best. And of course, Fans Toys should allegedly be reissuing their Apache around the same time. So kind of look forward to that. So Bandai has this interesting looking vehicle coming out. Say it's got 3 modes. It's the SV2628A, the Draken 3, Lil Draken plus Lil Draken, but it looks pretty interesting. Of course, you have the robot mode, which looks really good. It's definitely a mech type looking bot. It's got sort of a pinkish with white and blue coloring to it. Looks like it's got a different type of stand. Really kind of look cool looking. I'm sure it's highly articulated. I believe it's got some diecast in it. I really don't have a lot of information, really just some pictures, and didn't really get too much translated over. There's also the Gerwalk mode that's with it, so that does look pretty interesting. As typical with these types of mechs, the Gerwalk mode kind of has to be in there. Reminds me of Jetfire, just halfway transformed. And then we have the airplane mode, which is cool and different. And I guess you get a couple extra little side airplanes to go with it. I really don't know much about that, but it looks kind of cool. It looks kind of interesting, and it caught my eye. 2017 on it, that's interesting too. And I covered this in my Friday video talking about KOs again. There is a KO MP44 with silver waist and silver legs versus the white paint, or I guess it's just the white plastic on the KO. There's actually not the paint like there was on the original. This is coming up for pre-order, $105. And if you're in on a KO, you can be in on this one. The standard one's sold out, so this is the next chance to get it. I've got mine pre-ordered, and I plan to check it out to see all of the differences. So the Kang Toys CY Mini 01 Mini Firmament Dive Bomb, which is their Legends scale version of this, is up for pre-order, and the price is going to be about $28. So it sounds like it's going to be pretty reasonably priced to go with the Legends scale version of their take on a Predaking. So getting started. Now I'm hoping that all of them will be about the same price, so you can understand what the price will be for the whole set if you're going to go with it for Legends. Interesting that they're starting Legends before they finish their Masterpiece one. I know that is a bit frustrating to those that are in on the Masterpiece set and the Masterpiece set's not done yet, but hey, it's something that's happening in the Legends area, and Legends is got a lot of competition, and hey, King Toys is stepping up for a little more competition there. Speaking of competition, this is the right way to do competition, by the way. Make something no one else is making. There's no competition, right? So McFans Toys or Mechanic Toys or Mechanic Studio and all those different names under McFans Toys, the Thunderbolt, they're teasing us with some images and saying coming soon. So we've got the sword right here, coming soon, and Thunderbolt. So obviously they've done a good job with a lot of these other figures that are their own designs. Everyone's looking forward to this. I mean, the Blitzwing figure, the Blitzwing character, is something that most people are looking forward to in the Masterpiece scale, and definitely needed in the Legends scale. And I like that. I like that when a company's going to step up and give us something we don't have yet in a particular scale. And here we go with McFans Toys. And I do like their product. I wish they would put a little bit more paint on it, I guess, is my only thing. But here's some crazy looking face that's going to come with it. But yeah, I look forward to it myself. Pretty exciting. Mechanic Studios also got the box images for their MS-27 Poison. This is another triple changer we don't have in the Legends scale, and it's something we talked about last week, and it's still exciting that it's on its way. So New Age is getting in stock and shipping out their H24 Mashio Megatron Shattered Glass version. There's in-hand images of it right here. Now this is one of the 15 repaints of their, is it Darius, their Galvatron. But this is not just a repaint. This is a heavy retool, and it looks so different than all the other different colors of their Galvatron. Here he is, like a closer look up, and him with his cannon. Just a nice looking paint scheme, and I like the translucent usage of the wings and the back parts there, so that's pretty cool. Also, here is the alt mode of it, and the alt mode is not just a cannon. It almost looks like some sort of semi-strange jet airplane, so kind of cool in that respect. It is different from all of the other versions that they make, and we have another good picture of just the whole bot right there, standing there looking awesome. I think this is going to be a great mold. I've got the shiny version of their Galvatron pre-order, and I'll be taking a look at that when it comes in. So this isn't really Masterpiece, this isn't really mainline, but it is third-party, made for mainline, so it's kind of in the middle there, gray area. But Funby Studios is making a slew of things, and this is one of them, and it's their cyber-based system, Robotic Octopus from the Transformers, the movie, which you can kind of reenact that scene where Cup gets his leg taken off and all that, or his arm, his leg, whatever. This is just one of those world-building elements that we've never really seen before, and it's really cool that some sort of company is going to make this, and it looks interesting. It reminds you of the movie, and with all this stuff going on right now with Studio Series 86 giving us some of the best interpretations we've seen in the mainline of those characters, it's kind of fun to have a nice environment to display those with. And there's even more to it than just an octopus. There's some sort of opening hatch, and you can kind of go in the back there. So not 100% sure about what's going on with this option here, but it is an option. So there's a lot more to it than just some big giant piece of plastic with some legs coming out. There's a slight bit of transformation to it going on. Funby Studios is also making a Castle Grayskull chair. No, wait. Oh, that's Blaster's chair. Yeah. From the movie, again, they're making a lot of props to go right along with the 1986 movie. This is the chair Blaster was in when the base got attacked. And it's awesome that we get these sort of things. Again, this is just a render. This isn't the actual item. And I'm curious how big it's going to be. I'm curious what scale figures you can put in it. And I'm curious what blaster they intend you to put in this thing. I don't know. The only blaster I could think of that would fit well would be a Legends blaster. Unless they know something we don't. So we're seeing more stuff going on with the mainline this week than anything. I actually was able to see the Kingdom Dinobot and Inferno show up in my neck of the woods. So they're probably everywhere now. Once they hit my neck of the woods, they've hit the entire country. And so I'm usually the last to get stuff. So it's kind of cool to see it. It's always kind of exciting to see new product on the shelf, especially during what feels like a big drought. So we've got pictures, in-hand pictures of Huffer. I've actually seen some people make reviews, and they've had it for a while. Still, I haven't seen it around my area. You might be seeing it around yours. Still kind of exciting. It's interesting that they're making this Huffer. It's, again, the best one they've made. Doesn't look to be perfect, though. But again, what are you getting for 20 bucks on the regular toy aisle? Here he is next to Prime, which I really do think the Earthrise Prime, and then I guess Kingdom, you could say it's a Kingdom Prime now. It's a pretty good figure. These look great. It looks good. And then the alt mode, it depends on whether you put the shield on it or not. Whether it looks good or just a little bit overdone. But the alt mode's okay. And I'm warming up to it. I didn't like it at first. I admit, didn't like it at first. I'm warming up to it as I see pictures. And I really am interested in getting it in hand myself. Because everybody that's had it in hand really likes it. So I kind of feel a little late to the game talking about the Commander class Rodimus. It's not Hot Rod, it's Rodimus. It's not Hot Rodimus either. The thing about this is that a lot of people, including myself, are confused why it's a Commander class, but I guess it's the amount of plastic that's going into it that's going to make it Commander class, but I don't really feel like it was the greatest idea for Commander class. I really felt like this should be a leader, but looking at it just objectively and taking away the $80 price point, it looks okay. So here he is in his bot mode, and does look pretty solid. He's not all waffled up like a lot of these other ones, but kind of looking like the regular Hot Rod was a pretty solid figure. And I'm just wondering, is this going to be better than the regular Hot Rod, or just kind of on par with it? Or is it going to be a step backwards because they're going about it in a different way? It's a different figure. It's bigger. Do they borrow a lot of design elements? There's a lot of questions still to be asked. And a lot of people, including myself, are still confused about the Winnebago mode and why it sticks out so much, why it's not as seamless. As much money as you're spending, you expect almost perfection. I mean, I expect perfection out of something that's 80 bucks and it's just pretty simplistic figure, really. It's very simplistic figure overall versus kind of what you see in the Commander class. And here is the car by itself, kind of looking like a Hot Rod car, but not. So what everybody really wants to talk about this week is Hasbro's new Kingdom Galvatron, and the thing about it is that it looks good. It is the biggest news of the week. We knew it was coming, but now that we get pictures, it's kind of brought to reality. Looking at this picture, the first thing I want to point out is obviously the shoulder pieces are not transformed properly, and you can see that they do turn, so you can get it in the right position. So that's cool. Also, he comes with these two little guns that look like little mini ships, so that's kind of a plus, an extra. That's strange. You don't need those guns in his hands because he's got his cannon. He's got a pretty good, solid cannon right there. So he looks good. Now, I did not officially find out anywhere whether he was going to be Voyager or Leader. And I'm guessing Leader because he is going to be big and beefy. But again, we got Megatron in Voyager and Prime in Voyager. We've seen all of these in Voyager, and I would love to see a $30 price point. So I can't wait till I can see it somewhere. Maybe we'll get one, but I'm guessing it's going to be Leader. I'm not sure because I could not find official anywhere saying the size class on it. Does have some sort of the space scarring on his chest, some of the damage, the battle damage going on with that. I do like the color scheme. I do like the purple and this kind of a discussion in the Masterpiece ranks about which color is right. Is it more blue or is it more purple and all that? But I'm cool with this purple 100%. And I do like the fact that they didn't make this a Headmaster gimmick. And the Headmaster gimmick on the previous version did kind of hold that one up on the Titan Returns one. Titan Returns one's good, but the fact that they did have that Headmaster gimmick was kind of taking away from everything they could have done to make it perfect and make it better. Now, I'm not saying this one's perfect, but it is pretty good looking. Here we are with the cannon mode, this picture floating around. This does look just strange the way they did the picture, kind of photoshopped it together. And you can indeed take out that middle section that holds the cannon on and connect the cannon just directly to it. So it would look right if you connect it differently, and it will work. And so that's kind of cool right there. And it looks pretty good for what it is. And I'm kind of interested in how the transformation works on this. This thing does look like it will work out relatively well. Shouldn't be too complex, but I do know that the direction Hasbro is going is increasing the parts count and increasing the complexity of these things, but I don't think it'll be anything nearly as bad as what we see in the third-party realms. So, good looking all around. I'm looking forward to this. It's a pretty exciting reveal for this week, being pretty much the top reveal. We got a couple of add-on kits popping up this week, and the reason I even talk about add-on kits is because they can enhance your figure to take it to a level that you want it, versus just accepting what you get, I guess, is kind of the way to look at it. With this 115, 11S, 115, they're making an add-on kit for the Inferno that just started popping up and showing up around here, and it's mostly fillers. And looking at what they do, here is a huge difference. And when you look at what the add-on kit does for a Hasbro product, and it doesn't interfere with transformation, starts to make you wonder, like, why are we getting cheaped out on so heavily when we got to pay another $20 on a $30 figure to finish it out? So that's kind of frustrating, but you can see the difference there. It makes a huge difference, and I would like to see with these add-on kits that they do, like, we do these 5 figures and you pay a certain price, because $20 each, and then sometimes you got to pay the shipping and all that. I mean, that kind of does get old, enhancing figures to get them the way they should have come out of the package. But if you did like 5 figures at once for maybe $50, makes them 10 each, that would be more reasonable. Maybe that's the way it'll go one day. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. And yes, I know everyone's probably tired of hearing about this, but we've got another add-on kit going on for Ultra Magnus. I think this one actually looks a little bit better than what we've seen. So this is the ROS, which stands for Ratchet's Operating Studio, and it's the ROS 021 upgrade kit for the Kingdom Ultra Magnus, and it comes with a slew of parts, and it does a whole lot of stuff for it, and let's get into that. So you fill a gap on the inner thigh, which that's a huge gap getting filled right there. You get gaps in the feet filled, and you know, it's one of those things. Again, you don't realize how many holes and waffles and gaps you have in your toy. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you do. But when you start seeing these gaps getting filled, you're going, wow, that looks pretty good. And it's just little pieces to big pieces getting filled out in this. And then you don't even really think about like the missiles, the missile launcher, and all of that. Just getting a gap fill for that. So interesting there. And this set seems to be the best one. Or I wouldn't say maybe the best. The most inclusive with the most parts and the most pieces getting fixed. Now, getting into this Netflix reissue, we've seen some pictures of this before, but now we got side-by-side pictures of the Cheetor, and on the right is the new Netflix, and on the left is the original. And if you're like me, you probably ran out and bought the original and have the original, but I'm hearing from everyone that the one on the right is more screen accurate, and the more I look at it, the more I agree with what everyone else is saying, that it is more screen accurate. That darker blue is more accurate, and I kind of prefer the darker blue myself also. So the Netflix series, I'm largely a pass on it myself because it's just reissues of stuff we already have, but this one here is more like what we want, and a lot of people that already bought the first one are kind of disappointed that now they got to buy another one. So I mean, it is what it is, but it does look good, And you know they're going to do repaints and recolors of all these figures. Not just going to make one and done and call it a day. So it's not really too big of a surprise. Now, I haven't chimed in on this one yet, and the Transmutate figure that they're going to make in the Kingdom line is, to me, a bit disappointing. And I want to be positive and upbeat about everything, but again, this is disappointing me. I know why they did it. They did it so they could reuse the mold and recolor the mold. We just spoke about recoloring molds and not being surprised. But the thing about this is a huge step backwards for them from what they did back in the 90s. In the 90s, they had a Build-A-Figure in the Transformers line, and they nailed it. That is probably the most perfect they could have done for Transmutate. So I guess they just threw their hands in the air and say, we can't beat the 90s, so let's just do this thing. I've heard people excited for this Transmutate, but it's so far off left field, and all the figures they're putting out now are the best versions, and now we get this. So transitioning to some different news here, if you're like me and you wander into your Walmarts and you see Wave 2 on the shelf, all you see are the remnants of all the Scareglows gone and maybe one or two of these guys, you might be a little disappointed if you see what I see. I have to tell you that I was disappointed that the Manny faces rang up for $14.92 and then the Trap Jaw rang up for $15.85. Like, where did that same wave? They all came out of the same box, and they rang up for so much more. But I'm not gonna lie to you, finding a 12-pack of socks for $11.47, that was actually more exciting. Well, I hope there's not a price increase on these. I think that's the biggest point on this, is that they are priced reasonably well, and they have great articulation. They look good. They give you all the feels, and they're not ridiculously over expensive. I like that about this line, and I hope they maintain that price point. I hope they don't creep up. I understand you pay a premium to order them online and to secure a pre-order so you for sure get your Scareglow, but I don't want to pay a premium at the store now. So in the Star Wars world, there's never really a whole lot going on anymore, but we do have some Heir to the Empire figures here, and they're going to have some special packaging for them, but this is Luke Skywalker from the Heir to the Empire. And I remember back in the day in the 90s collecting the Expanded Universe figures in 3 3/4 inch, and I kind of expected when we did this scale we'd have them similar, but they're not. So it's different. This is more or less just a reuse of another previous Luke Skywalker and just giving them some updated paint apps, and comes with this cat-looking thing. And I do believe this is something that can get used with your Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that works for me, I guess. It's okay. $25 price point, though. I don't know if I'm in on these. Next up, we're getting a Darth Maul. And this is the Darth Maul that, well, he looks different. He has the shirtless Darth Maul, still retaining the similar lower legs. And it looks like a new head sculpt. So I mean, it's different on the Maul. And I remember seeing this kind of version in some of the history there. But cool. I know a lot of people like Maul. Maul sells very well, so having a different version instead of the same one over and over, I like that. But again, the $25 price point, and they're looking for every reason to increase this price on us, and it's moving that direction, and they're just setting you up for it. And we have a character, I'm not really familiar with is it Carnor Jax? I'm not familiar with it, but I do like the Royal Guard, and so a different take on a Royal Guard's kind of tempting for me, actually. But it's strange, because if you don't have premium, then you're paying shipping on this if you pre-order from the Hasbro Pulse. You didn't pay for the $50 premium. So that, I actually didn't pre-order it, because I clicked on it and they're like, oh, you got to order so many to get the free shipping. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm even going to mess with it then. But it still looks kind of cool, and you get a cool box with it. But I have to admit, I absolutely know nothing about this Jackson figure. And as much as I'm into Star Wars, I actually didn't really get into the Heir to the Empire and that whole series, so I don't understand it. I don't really know why this is special, and for that fact, it's a bunny rabbit looking dude, and from the Star Wars era. Yeah, I know. I guess I'm not deep enough, true enough Star Wars fan. Even though I've been collecting it for 26 years, I don't know anything about this guy, and I have to admit that this whole wave is still available for pre-order. Most things that go up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse sell out in hours, maybe a day. And what's it been, several days since they've announced this, and they're still up for pre-order, all you want. And a group of people in Russia made a half-scale Razor Crest. So we're talking huge. You can get in this thing. It has lights. It has a cockpit. It has a ramp. And it has, well, a gigantic Razor Crest that I've seen a lot of people say, well, I've got a scale Razor Crest, but nobody's gone this far. And this is pretty impressive. Of course, it takes a group of people to make something like this, and it's huge. They had to have a crane to move it around, but it's really awesome, and they've got some Instagram postings, Instagram pictures about this, but that's just something that blows my mind. There are fans all over the world that love Star Wars, and let's hope Disney doesn't wreck the franchise, because it's a whole lot of fun, and I love Star Wars myself. So let me know what you think about this week's weekly news and review. What else did I miss that was really awesome going on this week? I'd like to know. Like to stay in the loop. Like and subscribe. Hangar out.